In this video, we shall define even and odd permutations. We start proving this theorem which says that every permutation in Sn is a product of two cycles. Two cycle means a cycle of length 2. A cycle of length n we call n cycle. So we have to show that every permutation in Sn where n is bigger than 1 is a product of two cycles. So let us take a sigma in Sn, a permutation in Sn. If sigma is identity permutation, then we can write I as 1 2 times 1 2. Remember, because n is bigger than 1, so we have at least two symbols. So let us take 1 and 2. So if you multiply 1 2 with 1 2, we will get the identity permutation. So if sigma is identity, we have written identity as a product of two cycles. Now suppose that sigma is not identity. Sigma is any permutation, and we know that any permutation can be written as a product of disjoint cycles. We have to prove that every cycle can be written as a product of two cycles. So let us take any cycle of length k. Then notice that a1 a2 ak can be written as a1 ak, a1 ak minus 1, and continue like this, a1 a3, and lastly a1 a2. These two sides are equal, a1 a2 ak, and the right hand side a product of two cycles. Let us see this how. In the left hand side, a1 goes to a2. In the right hand side, in this first two cycle, a1 goes to a2. Then we have to see where a2 goes under this second two cycle, because a2 is not appearing here, so a2 goes to a2. Similarly, a2 will not appear any of these cycles, so ultimately a1 goes to a2. So a1 goes to here, a2 here, and a1 goes to a2 here also. Similarly, we can check that all the elements are going to the same elements, so these two are same. So we have proved that every cycle can be written as a product of two cycles, and this proves the theorem. A two cycle or a cycle of length 2 is called a transposition because it simply transposes two symbols. Now notice that if we try to write down 1 2 3 4 5 as a product of transpositions, theorem 5.4 says that we can write any permutation as a product of two cycles or transpositions. So we have written 1 2 3 4 5 in two ways. In this way, it is written as a product of four transpositions, and here it is written as a product of six transpositions, and both 4 and 6 are even. If you try to write down 1 2 3 4 5 in some other way, then you will notice that every time you would be able to write it in an even number of transpositions. You cannot write this cycle 1 2 3 4 5 as a product of odd number of transpositions. And this is the fact that our next theorem says. Theorem says that if alpha is a permutation on n symbols and it is written in two ways as a product of transpositions, in one way it is written as a product of R transpositions, and in another way it is written as a product of S transpositions, then either both R and S are even or both are odd. That means we cannot write a permutation in both as a odd number of transpositions and as an even number of transpositions. To prove the theorem, we consider this polynomial p, which is a product of factors of the type xi minus xj, and this polynomial is in n variables x1 x2 xn. As many variables as many we have the symbols. For a permutation sigma in Sn, we define sigma of P to be equal to, now what sigma does on P is that it changes the symbols here. So I changes to sigma of I and J changes to sigma of J. Let us understand this with this particular example. So let us take n equal to 4. So we have S4 now. P polynomial will be in 4 variables x1, x2, x3 and x4. So P will be equal to x1 minus x2, x1 minus x3, x1 minus x4, then x2 minus x3, x2 minus x4, and the last one is x3 minus x4. So this will be P when n is 4. Now let us take a permutation from S4. So let us take the simple permutation sigma equal to, let us say, 1 3. So 1 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1 in under sigma. So let us apply sigma on P. So sigma of P will become, the first factor x1 minus x2 will become x3 minus x2. Under sigma 1 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1, 2 remains unchanged. Then second factor x1 minus x3 will become x3 minus x1. Third factor x1 minus x4 will become x3 minus x4. Fourth factor x2 minus x3 becomes x2 minus x1. And the fifth factor remains unchanged, x2 minus x4, and this last factor x3 minus x4 becomes x1 minus x4. Now let us write this sigma P in the form as P is, means I is less than J. Smaller factor remains on the left. In the first factor we have x3 minus x2, 3 is bigger than 2, so we will write it as x2 minus x3 but with minus sign. X3 minus x1 will become minus 1 times x1 minus x3, x3 minus x4 as it is, no change. X2 minus x1 will become minus 1 times x1 minus x2, x2 minus x4 is as it is, and then last one x1 minus x4 is also unchanged. So we have this thing. So how many minus signs we have got? It is minus 1 time, 2 times and 3 times. So 3 times minus sign is there. So we have minus times x2 minus x3, then x1 minus x3, x3 minus x4, x1 minus x2, x2 minus x4 and x1 minus x4. So we see that this is nothing but minus P. So sigma of P is minus P when we have taken sigma this particular transposition. And this is what now we are going to prove, that when we apply sigma a transposition on this polynomial P, then sigma of P will be equal to minus P. So we show that if sigma is a transposition, then sigma of P will be equal to minus P. So let us take sigma equal to KL. So it transposes K and L, interchanges K and L, K goes to L and L goes to K, where we are assuming K is less than L, because transposition LK is same as KL. Now one of the factors in P is this one, xk minus xl, and it will be only one of the factors, exactly one of the factors. In sigma P, when we apply sigma on P, it will become xl minus xk. Remember that P contains three types of factors. One factor is that contains both the symbols K and L that we have already considered, and if we apply sigma on that factor, it interchanges the symbols K and L. Second type of factor is that neither contains K nor L, means it is a factor of the type xi minus xj where neither I is K or L or neither nor j is K or L. Now, if we apply sigma on this type of factor, because sigma interchanges only K and L, so this type of factor will not be affected by sigma. So, there is no change when we apply sigma on such type of factor. Third type of factors in P are where either I or J, but not both, is equal to K or L. Now, depending on what is I, we have divided this case into three sub cases. First is when I is less than both K and L. Such type of factors will be 2, xi minus xk and xi minus xl. Now, when we apply sigma on these factors, xi minus xk will change to xi minus xl, and this xi minus xl will change to xi minus xk. Now, if we again write this in the standard form, means left hand symbol should be less than the right one symbol. So, because I is already less than L, so this is already in standard form, and this is also in already in standard form. So, overall there will not be any change in these factors, no change of sign. Second case is when I lies between K and L, then P will have these type of factors xk minus xi and xi minus xl. So when we apply sigma on this factor, xk minus xi will become xl minus xi and xi minus xl will become xi minus xk. Now you see that L is bigger than I, so this is not in standard form. So we will have to change it into this form having a negative sign minus 1 xi minus xl. This one, because I is bigger than k, so this is also not in standard form. So we shall write again this in taking negative sign. So this will become minus 1 xk minus xi. So if we combine these two negative sign, so on these two factors altogether there is no change of sigma, because one negative sign is coming from here and one negative sign is coming from here. So overall there is no change of sign. Third case is when I is bigger than both k and l. In this case, P will have factor of this type xk minus xi and xl minus xi, and when we apply sigma on these two factors, then xk minus xi becomes xl minus xi and xl minus xi becomes xk minus xi. Now because I is bigger than both L and K, so when we apply sigma, so there is no change of sign neither in this nor in this. So overall we are getting a change of sign only in the factor xk minus xl, that becomes xl minus xk. So we get a negative sign from there, and hence sigma of p is equal to minus p. So we have proved that if sigma is a transposition, then sigma of p is equal to minus p. Let us now apply alpha on P. So first we apply this presentation of alpha on P, beta 1, beta 2, beta r. All are transpositions. Each transposition gives us one negative sign. So when these r transpositions are applied on P, we get r negative symbols. So alpha of P gives us minus 1 raised to power r p. And if we apply this second presentation of alpha, when alpha is a product of s transpositions, then we get minus 1 raised to power s p. But because both are alpha of p, so both are equal, so minus 1 raised to power r p is same as minus 1 raised to power s p. So either both r and s are even or both are odd. Motivated by this result, we can now define what is an even and what is an odd permutation. A permutation that can be expressed as a product of an even number of transpositions is called an even permutation, and a permutation that can be expressed as a product of an odd number of transpositions is called an odd permutation.